What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Crypto Sherpa Show, where I cover the latest cryptocurrency news articles to keep you up to date on what's going on. And what is going on? Bitcoin touched 64,000. Was that this morning when that happened? It did. If you take a look at this chart, we had a sharp decline from 67,000 all the way down to 64. And that was at, what time is that? No, this would happen yesterday at 8:55 p.m. So I was like, ooh, we'll probably have a little run up. It's going, and we did till 66, and then we're going down. So again, like, I don't think the pain's still over yet. But again, these are good buying opportunities, but you could wait a little bit longer. I'm just saying, depending on how your strategy goes, because taking a look at the 200-week moving average, it's like we're right there. Bitcoin needs to touch that price. It needs to touch that price, or the line's got to touch Bitcoin's price, vice versa. But it looks like Bitcoin's going to touch that price and then maybe go down to like this level. Yeah, the 45,000. That's what everyone's predicting. So you can still get a little bit cheaper, but hey, that's catching a falling knife there. And again, I always have a strategy. Like, if you want to buy now, and hey, if you buy now, that's a great steal if your outlook is 10 years from now. Because 10 years, these dips don't even matter if you got in at these price and you hodled. So again, Bitcoin's just at a cheap price. Could there still be more pain? Yes. When is a good time? Like, if you want to have a strategy, like, what could you do? It's like, if you're waiting to get back in, it's like, I want to try to get as cheap as possible. Best strategy, not financial advice, is like, once it hits this line, let that be the starting point. Nibble in. Do like 10%, buy 10% of your portfolio, buy 10% in, and then wait a month, maybe buy weekly, by another 10%, because eventually the narrative is going to churn. And like, every time these have happened, like, I think someone pointed out the charts, like where it's like, oh, we reached it, then boom, went up, went here, reached, where was this one? No, that's the 50-week moving average. So no, here it is, touched right there, boom, went up. And I think that one even went lower. No, that one didn't. But it just shows like this, like, just historically, when you buy at the 200-week moving average, that's like the best time to do it. So there's still tons of opportunity. But yeah, so Bitcoin's at 64, but it doesn't matter. You know what? Who's still buying? Michael Saylor, because his company Strategy made their 100th purchase over the weekend. They acquired 592 Bitcoin for $39.8 million at a price of $67,286 per coin. So way to go. Is that a dip? It is in Strategy's eyes anyways, but he's still adding. This was their 100th. Now they hold 717,722 Bitcoin. Crazy. And then what else do we have going on? Twitter news. Oh, yeah, because of that, then we got companies buying into MicroStrategy. Just in, $660 billion company, Jane Street, just disclosed buying $100 million more Bitcoin exposure via Strategy MicroStrategy. Now, one of the largest market makers in the world is, they're getting exposure through MicroStrategy, who keeps buying more Bitcoin. So the plan is these guys are taking advantage of the opportunity of these low prices, because they know, like I said in the beginning, if your strategy is 10 years long, you have nothing to worry about, nothing to panic. You're just buying an asset, sitting on it 10 years from now. Oh man, I can't wait to imagine our world and how much adoptions come through then. But yeah, so that's what's taking place with the Bitcoin side. And let's see what else is going on. Twitter news. We have Justin, World Liberty Finance, to build tokenized luxury resorts in the Maldives. So the Trump-backed crypto project will entail building 100 beach and overwater villas within the Maldives by tokenizing at the development level. Rather than selling off pieces of a finished building, World Liberty Financial says it's unlocking the high-margin development returns for commercial real estate projects that are usually eaten up by big banks, and the tokens are expected to provide investors with fixed yield and loan revenue streams. So, okay, yeah, so again, like when I was talking about like 10 years ago, like where adoption's going to be, like everything's going to be tokenized. That's definitely for sure at that point. Who's going to be controlling the tokenization, the tokens of everything being tokenized? And that's still in play. We're still got to see who's going to build that out. Because it's just right now, and you tokenize something, it doesn't mean really anything. Sure, you got ownership and everything, but until we get like a company or an entity that's running it, that the whole world runs on, then that's when it's there. But no, this is cool that Trump is doing this with his buildings tokenized. He's on the bandwagon of adoption. Now, what else is going on in this space? Oh, I saw this one was interested with OpenClaw being AI and kind of crypto related, but looks like OpenClaw's creator has banned all crypto mentions on the project's Discord following a January incident where scammers launched a fake token that briefly hit $16 million before crashing over 90%. So, yeah, this is an OpenClaw like saying we don't want nothing to do with crypto. This is just their way of protecting people in the community because, again, there was an incident where scammers are pretending to be legit companies out there and profiting off the scam because, again, they're tricking people into believing, oh, OpenClaw came out with this token, but they never did. People invested in it, and then the token gets rugged by the scammer. So technically, this is them protecting their clients and their viewers out there by just eliminating the problem. No one can go on their Discord and tweet or mention crypto, Bitcoin, nothing. They can't, like, if they mention it, it gets flagged and gets taken off. You get banned off of it. So that is stopping scammers from just putting a fake post in there, having a viewer see it, invest in that fake token. So that is pretty interesting, though. This is a nice little tactic out there. But what are your thoughts on this? Like, is it good? Is it bad? It's like by blocking or censoring the word crypto so you can't have discussions on it. Well, that's just in their own channel. OpenClaw is an AI platform, so not really to do with crypto in general. So yeah, I guess that's up for a debate. I personally think that's actually a good call because, again, we want to keep people safe in this space. And hey, if this is how they're going to do it, kudos. Like, go for it. Like, if it's going to help people stay safe, do it. So that's OpenClaw news. Let's take a look at Ethereum again. Lots of Twitter news and not so much news articles. The only 3 news articles I have for you is something about Australia, Missouri's advancing its crypto reserve bill, Bitcoin reserve bill, and Bitdeer sells all its Bitcoin. So lots of Twitter news. It's going to be a short video for y'all. But it looks like Tom Lee's BitMine acquired 45,749 Ethereum with an average price of 1,992. So he's still buying it. ETH can go down to 1,500. What's its current price right now? ETH is currently at 1,861, so it's gone down $100. And how much is that going down in value if you bought at that price for that many? That's a loss again right there. But again, eventually, I believe ETH will make its turnaround as well. But Bitcoin's got to go first. And so, like, while we got this guy buying more Ethereum, we have right here. Vitalik Buterin sells more. So Ivan on Tech posted this out. Like, Vitalik is selling ETH faster again. In the past 2 days, he has sold 1,869 ETH. During that time, ETH fell from 1988 to 1875, down 5%. Let's see, 1869, 45. Okay. So Tom Lee definitely purchased Vitalik's Ethereum out there, but he purchased a lot more too. But why is Vitalik selling? Let's take a look. Someone asked Grok. Well, Vitalik Buterin explained in January 30th post that he's withdrawing and liquidating 16,384 Ethereum to fund open source software / hardware for security, privacy, and Ethereum ecosystem goals amid the foundation mid austerity phase. This supports the projects in finance, biotech, and more. So, okay, so we get news on Vitalik selling, like he already addressed it. It's nothing to panic out. He told us about this a month ago, literally. So it was, this is just to advance, again, open source software and hardware security and privacy. He wants to expand more in the Ethereum ecosystem. So yeah, he's going to use a token to build it better. So that's definitely going to give it more value in the future. Price rise right now? Not going to do too good. And let's see, continuing in the news, we have ETF outflows continuing to happen and hit a streak we haven't seen in years. Spot Bitcoin ETF have now logged 5 straight weeks of outflows, the longest streak since March 2025. On the surface, that looks bearish, but step back and look at the macro context. This isn't institution abandoning Bitcoin. It's positioning being trimmed into a tighter liquidity backdrop marked by rate uncertainty, tariff noise. Oh yeah, we have tariff stuff going on still again, and broader risk-off behavior. Now, the ETF tend to act as the pressure valve when conditions tighten, flows weaken first, and then the price reacts second. So it's importantly, cumulatively, net inflows since the launch remain massive, and ETM AUM is still sitting at structurally elevated levels. Big money hasn't exited, it's just managing exposure. Bottom line, this is caution, not capitalization. If liquidity conditions stabilize, ETF demand can flip quickly, and that's a key variable to watch. Because, yeah, once we get ETF inflow, that's a good signal as well that price will increase again. And lastly, in Twitter news, I think I just saw this. Looks like French government-owned energy company Engie is considering installing Bitcoin miners and its new solar plant in Brazil to make the facility more profitable, Reuters said. Now, they said Bitcoin mining could monetize its wasted energy and would not be a short-term solution. So, okay, interesting. Again, more advancements around the world. This is happening in South America, and Brazil has been pretty friendly to Bitcoin and crypto so far. And yeah, so now they're going to be turning their energy grid into mining Bitcoin. That's just going to make Bitcoin even stronger. Love it. So, all right, let's go into the news articles I have for you today. So let's see. Austria's regulator slaps new business ban on KuCoin's EU exchange. Oh, Austria. I thought it was Australia. Okay, so this is taking place in Austria. But the Austrian Financial Market Authority has frozen new business at KuCoin EU months after granting the exchange an MiCA license, citing gaps in key anti-money laundering and sanction rules. So, KuCoin is banned. So, Austria's financial regulator has prohibited KuCoin EU exchange from conducting new business, citing breaches of internal organization requirements around anti-money laundering, counter-terrorist financing, and the observance of financial sanctions. Now, the Thursday decision by the Austrian Financial Market Authority means KuCoin's Vienna-based entity cannot onboard new customers or conclude new contracts or products within existing relationships until key compliance functions are appropriately filled. Now, Sabina Liu, managing director at KuCoin EU, told Cointelegraph that the two compliance professionals holding designated AML and sanctions oversight functions in Austria had recently departed, and that such mobility was common in any regulated industry. Now, she said that KuCoin had already begun recruiting before the notice was issued and had voluntarily paused new user onboarding and certain trading activities. Now, Liu added that the matter remained contained and limited in scope, and that the exchange did not expect any long-term structural impact on its European strategy. So this is, again, just one country out of the... Man, how many countries are in Europe? I am terrible about that. I know we have 50 states in the US, but countries around the world, I'm not positive. But so just this one right there is not going to hurt their scope around the entire European area. But KuCoin's compliance first is Vienna Hub. The move comes just months after Austria granted KuCoin EU a markets and crypto assets regulation license, now allowing the Seychelles headquarters exchange to passport crypto asset services across the European Union and European Economic Area. Now, KuCoin has postponed Vienna as its European hub, appointing the former London Stock Exchange Group executive Liu as managing director in January to lead its MiC era expansion and pitching the bloc as a regulated first growth opportunity. Now, Liu told Cointelegraph that KuCoin remained committed to operating strictly within the applicable supervisory framework and ensuring compliance with Austrian and EEA regulatory standards. Now, compliance is a long-term commitment, she said, adding that temporary structural gaps were being addressed through established remediation mechanisms. Now, the age of the MiC compliance, because if they had that, now it's doing that. What does that even give? Well, the FMA's intervention shows how quickly the MiCA-approved firms can face supervisory pushback if their governance or staffing diverge from approved plans, particularly around AML and sanctions oversight. Now, more broadly, European regulators have warned that crypto asset service providers that failed to secure an MiC authorization before transitional periods expire in July 2026 and will have to wind down their EU operations, with supervisors pushing for orderly cessation rather than last-minute scrambles. Now, in France, for example, the Financial Market Authority has told unprepared providers to plan for an orderly cessation of business by mid-2026 if they cannot meet the MiCA requirements in time. In Spain, the National Securities Market Commission has warned that crypto firms that fail to obtain an MiCA authorization by the end of the transition period will have to stop offering services in the country. So, what is going on here in Europe? So are they moving forward? It seems like they're going to get a lot of businesses that might have to run out if they don't get their MiC forms in line. And then not only that, they got to get all their other records to go through too, because that's kind of what's happening with Coinbase. They may have had their MiC license, but there's gaps in certain areas that they have. So yeah, this isn't looking good for Austria right now, or not just Austria, but at least the countries are really pushing for this right now. Sure, it's getting some regulations in there and whatnot, but I don't think they might be too friendly for why these businesses will might have to move away. So again, this happens in the space. It's bearish news, but eventually this leads into just news articles of, oh, these guys slapped a ban on us. We just moved over to our neighboring country because again, crypto and Bitcoin is borderless. They can just move wherever they please. So they're moved to a more friendlier area and they're just work there. That simple. So that's what's going on in Austria and KuCoin EU Business Exchange. Now let's go on to at least the positive news. Like, come on, like I know it's kind of bummer news. It's red markets. Like, what's positive happening right now? Well, Missouri lawmakers advance a new Bitcoin strategic reserve bill. So yes, I remember the first one got shut down, but this one is moving forward. So a similar bill proposing a Bitcoin strategic reserve was introduced in February last year, but failed to advance past the committee stage. U.S. lawmakers in Missouri have advanced a revived Bitcoin strategic bill last week, sending it to House Commerce Committee as part of the next step in the legislative process. Now, House Bill 2080 was referred to the House Commerce Committee on February 19th for review, where it will undergo a public hearing, a committee vote, and potentially receive recommendations for changes before returning to the House for debate and final vote to pass through the chamber. Now, the Missouri Treasurer can store Bitcoin for 5 years. Missouri Representative Ben Keithley introduced House Bill 2080 in January, which proposes allowing the state treasurer to invest, purchase, and hold cryptocurrency using state funds, according to the legislation summary. Now, the state treasurer can accept gifts, grants, and donations from Missouri residents or government entities to help fund the reserve. Now, the treasurer is authorized to store the Bitcoin for 5 years, after which it can be transferred, sold, or converted into another token. And transactions involving foreign countries or entities outside of Missouri are prohibited. Now, another part of the bill proposes allowing government entities to accept crypto approved by the Department of Revenue for citizens to pay taxes, fees, fines, and other expenses owed. Now, asset manager VanEck speculated last year that the strategic Bitcoin reserves in America states could drive more than $23 billion in demand if adopted. And another one, state of Missouri lawmakers advanced House Bill number 2080 to create state-run Bitcoin strategic reserve funds. So a date for the public hearing hasn't yet been set. However, the legislation has proposed an effective date of August 28th, according to the Missouri House of Representatives. Now, if Bill 2080 passes through the House, it will be sent to the Senate for reading committee review, floor debate, and vote. And then after the Senate, the bill goes to Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe's desk for a signature or a veto. Now, a similar bill died in the committee stage, so let's talk about that one first. So Keithley introduced a similar bill, which was House Bill 1217 in February of last year. However, it failed to advance past the committee stage and was ultimately abandoned. House Bill 1217 was referred to the House Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs, which held a public hearing last March, but it didn't receive a committee vote to move forward to the House for a debate and a vote. So yeah, so that's what I wish I had more information on there. I know I covered that in previous articles back at the time, but I forgot like what was truly in it, and I want to know what the differences are in this bill 2080 versus that one. Sure, I can ask Grok or ChatGPT it. We'll do that another time. But that's what's going on in Missouri. So fingers crossed this one does get pushed through, right? I want to see every single state have their own Bitcoin reserve and then start adding to it. And that would be awesome because that's when we will see Bitcoin do that probably continuous wave up that we all believe will eventually happen. When we first get in, it's always thinking it's going to happen this year. But hey, it's coming, guys. Now, last news article I have for you is this Bitcoin mining company just liquidated the last of the remaining Bitcoin, but they're still mining. So Bitdeer's Bitcoin treasury drops to 0 after miner liquidates remaining 943 Bitcoin. So Bitdeer Technologies has fully emptied its corporate Bitcoin treasury, reporting 0 BTC held as of February 20th, according to a weekly production update. The company posted on X on Saturday that the miner, which trades on NASDAQ under the ticker BTDR, disclosed that it had produced 189.8 Bitcoin during the week and sold the same amount while also liquidating its remaining 943.1 Bitcoin in reserves. Now, the figure excluded customer deposits. The disclosure caps a steady drawdown that accelerated in recent weeks. Bitdeer held roughly 2,000 Bitcoin at year end and about 1,530 Bitcoin at the end of January, before dropping to 943.1 Bitcoin on February 13th. And then in a February 13th update, the company had mined 183.4 Bitcoin and then sold 179.9, largely keeping pace with production. And the final week's sell-off, which wiped out the entire remaining balance, marked a clear escalation. Now, the liquidation came days after Bitdeer announced a $325 million convertible notes offering and a $43.5 million equity placement, both aimed at funding data center expansion and its AI pivot. Now, Bitdeer's zero BTC position puts it at odds with most publicly traded mining peers, according to the Bitcoin Treasury's data. Mara Holdings, they maintain a treasury of roughly 53,250 Bitcoin. Riot Platforms holds around 18,000 Bitcoin. And then there's Strategy, the largest corporate holder, has amassed 717,000 Bitcoin among miners. Even that have been net sellers, fully draining reserves is unusual. So the move comes as mining economics have tightened sharply. The Bitcoin network difficulty jumped 14.7% in the latest adjustment, and hash price has fallen below $30 per petahash / seconds a day / days. What's that second? Petahash / s / day. But Bitdeer's own gross margin slipped to 4.7% in Q4 from 7.4% a year earlier. Now, the company has not said whether the zero BTC position represents a permanent change in their treasury strategy or just a temporary cash need tied to its ongoing capital raises. Bitdeer is also facing a securities class action lawsuit in Southern District of New York over alleged misrepresentations about the Seal 04 chip timeline. Now, BitTorrent did not immediately respond to a request for a comment, but they did post on Twitter, or X, not too long ago. Let's see, here's our Twitter channel, and this was 10 hours ago from, when did that article come out? This article came out yesterday around 12:24, so afternoon. So here's been the response since the article came in. So our decision to sell Bitcoin should not be a concern for the broader market. We're currently evaluating multiple non-binding power land acquisition opportunities, and we believe it is prudent to prepare liquidity now. Our hash rate will continue to grow, and we will continue to mine more Bitcoin for the interest of our shareholders. So there you have it. So again, this is a land acquisition. They want to expand on their mining capabilities. So again, just because they sold now, could be, people can take that as negative news, but again, they're just positioning themselves. How, like I was saying in the very beginning, I expect Bitcoin to potentially dip a little bit more. Like we could go down to 45. Like, when am I going to start accumulating again? Because I had to put a little hold on it. I still get paid in it, but I had to put a hold on it. Is maybe around the 55,000 level. That's my buy-in. Like for Ivan on Tech, if you watch him in the morning, his level is right here, 60,000. Once you're out there, that's his nibble time. Me, I'm going to try to go as low as I can again. But again, I'm just chasing either getting at 80% or 90%. It's still at a discounted price right now. So buy it and hodl it. You're good. Because again, you just want to keep adding as much as you can. Because again, I don't know when we're going to have that time when we just are run out of liquidity everywhere and it's so hard to get Bitcoin. That day will come. I still truly believe that. So again, I know my own risk and my risk tolerance level out there. So if I want to go back and forth between like a stable coin and Bitcoin and like just on times in the market. But again, like I do believe though, there will be a time where it's going to be just so crazy that it's like, it'll be so hard to get that like if you got it, you are set, you're solid. So again, never give it. So again, just keep stacking your Bitcoin, like, and due time, it's going to be the best decision you ever made. And that I will do. I will say is the truth. So everybody, that is it for the news. Our fear and greed index out there is at a 14. So people, yeah, they're getting less fearful, even though we had that dip. So because of the news today, we may go fearful again, just a little bit more, but that's where we're at. And Bitcoin's currently sitting at, let's do a quick little refresher, 64.67. It's trying to make its way back up to 66, but who knows, we might be bound. This could be our new bounce, because you know how we were just bouncing 66, 68. We could be bouncing 66, 64 now this week. That's my prediction of what we could be seeing for this coming week, but you never know in the space. But that's it for the news, guys. Hope everyone has an awesome Monday. Hope everyone has an awesome Monday. Keep stacking Bitcoin. If you need help acquiring confidential Bitcoin, give our clubs a call at this number, 941-413-8080. Like, again, if you want to buy confidentially and not to go through a centralized exchange, give us a call. We'll help you out. So have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow with some more crypto news. Take care.